An experimental coronavirus vaccine moves into human testing today. It's part of the push by scientists to find treatments and preventive vaccines. Our Dr. David Agus joins us from Los Angeles. David, good morning. I know a vaccine is at least a year away at this point, so I want to get to the sort of more immediate concern, which has been the lack of tests. Is the testing situation improving at all from what you've seen?
You know, the good is there are more tests across the country. The tough part is there's not an infrastructure to run those tests, and some of the reagents are in short supply. So the real answer is we're still testing a fraction of the people that need to be tested, and the tests many times can take 3, 4, 5 days until the results come back.
So, David, does that limit our understanding of what we're dealing with at this point?
You know, with knowledge is power, and right now we don't have that knowledge. So it's very hard to do effective data-driven quarantines without the data of who's infected. If I tell you you're positive, you're going to stay home.
Yeah.
But now it's indeterminate. We don't know what to do.
So what do the numbers in other countries tell us about what we could face here? Does that give us any clue?
Yeah, no question about it, is that we're scared. I mean, we're scared that the numbers are going to skyrocket, that we're going to have to put in stricter measures. I'm proud of what America is doing. We are stepping up. Every single, city is stepping up here. We may have to step up more, but it's certainly an amazing week, and look at what we've done as a country.
But, Doctor, at the beginning of this month, we were at fewer than 100 cases. Now we're at 3,700. And when you look at our trajectory next to Italy and Iran, it seems frighteningly similar. Are we on the path of, say, Italy?
You know, it's really hard to know. Is that certainly we have much better medical infrastructure than Italy does. The drugs that are going to be able to treat this disease are in development and look very, very encouraging. So the hope is there's some really positive news there in the next week or two. Together with us expanding our medical infrastructure, we will not have what happened in Italy. I think our leadership and our infrastructure is going to do much better.
So what do you think we're facing in the weeks ahead, David?
What I think is, somewhat stricter measures about trying to slow the progress of the disease. That's the goal here. There's no panic. It is slowing the disease so that we can have our infrastructure in place. We have to protect our elderly. Below age 60, the death rate is almost zero. Above age 60, it starts to go up by decade. And so we as a country have to protect our elderly. And we're all stepping up for people with medical issues and over the age of 60 to protect them.
And if you test positive, David, what is the recovery rate? Do we know?
Well, it depends how old you are. So the entry portal for the virus goes up by decade. So if you test positive under the age of 60, the recovery rate is over 99% in countries like South Korea, and it'll be the same here. Every decade above 60, that goes up till it's about 7 or 8% in the 80s. And so we have to protect people over the age of 60, and that's what we're doing with these draconian measures that are growing in across the country.
Doctor, there are some things that you want to spread at a time like this, and that would be advice for what is effective treatment. So when people walk into a doctor's office, I'm curious, what is working? What are folks like yourself talking about and sharing with one another about how to get people back on their feet?
It's a great question. Is that right now there is no national database for what is working and how we all talk to each other in terms of treating this disease. That being said, there are some effective treatments that we think will work. The clinical trials are ongoing here in the United States and in China, but they certainly look encouraging. And we as physicians are allowed to use these drugs, what we call off-label. So we are using drugs that block the virus from replicating. We're using drugs that temper down inflammation, which is the main side effect of the virus, to hopefully make survival significantly higher than it's been seen before.
All right, Dr. Agus, thank you very much. And in the long term, of course, we do have hopes for a vaccine.